get all the news from WTCN TV's expanded news-gathering facility.
WTCN TV, Channel 11.
This is Kare 11 News at 10.
I'm not going to have that for a long time.
Meet a pretty typical 5-year-old with some pretty typical 5-year-old problems.
First, you know. No, you didn't. I didn't see you have it.
But look a little longer and you see that Ryan Stoich's problems are not all typical. He alone in his daycare has cerebral palsy. He alone can't walk, has never walked on his own.
Why does it always have to happen to me?
Gotta have a bad guy. Moss Man.
Yeah, Moss Man.
Yeah, Moss Man, okay. It happened to Ryan when he was born prematurely. Brain damage left him unable to walk. As one little girl put it last year, it left him crumpled, a childishly painful version of crippled, a word that hurt Ryan and made him even more aware of his differences.
Are you different?
Yep.
How are you different?
Can't walk.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Does that bug you sometimes?
Something does.
Sometimes it bugs Ryan that he can't just run to a friend's house instead of playing in his room. Sometimes it bugs him that he can't climb on the jungle gym at the park by himself like other kids, instead of having to count on his mom, Terry, or her fiancé, Dan. It bothers Terry almost all the time that she can't give her beautiful little boy the opportunity to take just one small step.
The thing that I've always wanted to do, you know, that's been my heartbreak, just to be able to walk down the street with him, like a normal little 5-year-old boy.
But last winter, the promise of hope here in Ortonville, Minnesota, Ryan's hometown. His grandma picked up a Reader's Digest and paging through found a very small article on a new procedure being done on kids with CP, an operation called a rhizotomy. It was being done in California, and it had allowed kids like Ryan to be able to walk for the very first time. It was exciting, but it created a whole new problem. Once Ryan was approved for the operation, Terry was told she had to come up with $15,000 to $20,000 for it. Sounded like an impossible sum to her, but apparently not to the people of Ortonville. This little farming community didn't have much, but what it had, it gladly gave for the opportunity to be part of Ryan's miracle.
The whole thing was beginning to consume my life. That's what happened. I had time for nothing else.
Terry and Ryan's minister, Wilfred Hansen, started the fundraising, hoping for a couple $1,000s. But soon, the Ryan Fund held more than $16,000. And when the story went statewide, $40,000.
It brought the best out of all of us, a desire to help somebody else.
This is made with thanks to Almighty God for giving me 5 sons of my own who never had to ask, Mom, am I crumpled? My prayers, it's unbelievable, the love, you know, for one little boy that they don't know, you know, just all their love and the care that came with the letters and the donations, just for Ryan.
In March, everyone's prayers, hope, and excitement came together as Ryan, walking the only way he can, leaves for California with Terry and his grandma. But the dream of walking, so clear and so simple to them now, would soon collide with reality. Ryan would not be handed the gift of mobility in California. He'd have to earn it with tears and pain.
Hey, you're doing fine.
But nothing could prepare Ryan or us for the pain of gait testing. Eight times, technicians threaded needles into Ryan's leg muscles.
No, please!
8 times, Ryan begged them to stop, calling on the highest power he knew in California to do it.
I'm done, Mickey!
You're going to tell Mickey
I know, Mickey doesn't like me to do this either.
For 2 hours, Terry prayed she was doing the right thing by allowing it to continue.
Right here. Over here.
Then, with needles in place and electrodes attached, they want Ryan to walk. They're looking for signs of vitality in his leg muscles, information the surgeons will need. It is agony, but soon this first step is over.
We're all done. Okay, we're all done.
The next day, the rest of us learn a lesson in resilience from Ryan. A trip to Disneyland did a lot for his spirits, although he did take a moment to complain about the needles to Mickey. But we didn't hear about it again. With surgery scheduled for 3 days away, this was a day for fun and forgetting. Terry is riding high on optimism at this point, absolutely convinced Ryan will walk.
Now I'm planning on having him walk down the aisle at my wedding someday.
But Ryan's surgeon, Dr. Leslie Cahan, wants it made clear that may not happen.
And so often parents, I think, hear what a doctor says, but also hear a wish or a hope for more than at least I feel we can offer.
When it comes time for surgery, all this little boy knows is that he is scared, overwhelmed by big machines, big people, and the unknown. Dr. Cahan makes an 8-inch incision in Ryan's lower back. Under a surgical microscope, he dissects the sensory nerves in his spine, looking for those that give a spastic, tightening response. He cuts those, in Ryan's case about 40% of the nerves. The hope is when the uncontrolled spastic response in his legs is gone, the remaining muscles can be strengthened and then function more normally. Five hours of surgery takes its toll on a 5-year-old. Terry and Ryan's dad, Mike, weren't ready for what they saw in post-op. Their little boy is having to work pretty hard for his miracle. His puffy face, the labored breathing make the dream a little less comfortable for them. It's been an emotionally battering day for Terry, and there are long and painful days ahead for Ryan.
Mommy loves you.
He needs that love now, and he needs time to heal before he takes the next step.
Good night, Ryan.
In, out. Keep your knees straight.
I think I'm
out. Filled? You sure?
I go get Mommy.
Okay, go get her. Go faster. Go get her. Stay away from me.
Laughter makes a comeback weeks later when Ryan starts therapy. The goal now is to strengthen leg muscles Ryan has never had a chance to use. Muscles so weak they can no longer support him, even in his walker. It was the spasticity that had given the illusion of strength.
In, over, in, over. You all filled? Okay.
I think so.
It's serious work, but it's got to be fun because therapy comes 5 times a week with no end in sight. And after all, the attention span belongs to a 5-year-old.
Go spin! Go spin!
After 2 months of this, there is some progress, but it's measured in millimeters, and it's taking a toll on Terry's optimism. Walking is no longer a sure thing to her.
I don't think I expected too much. you know. But I don't know. I think he will. I hope he will. But I wouldn't bet the ranch on it right now either.
Then, just when she least expected it, the dream resurfaced.
Oh, right. Keep kicking both legs. I gotcha. Keep going.
Most days you couldn't get Ryan out of the water therapy pool, and this was one of them.
Just one at a time.
The chance to get in a good splash is what appeals to Ryan, but his therapist likes the resistance the water creates. He has to work harder to move his legs. It gives him support so he can stand. And, he shows us today,
When you're ready, go.
he can walk underwater.
Walk over there. Go on.
The therapy is working. Ryan's legs are getting stronger. And just as important, Ryan is gaining confidence. Do you feel like you're getting stronger?
Yeah?
Yeah? How strong are you? Ooh, boy, those biceps, they're pretty impressive.
Yeah, I know.
He's confident enough even to make a prediction. Think you'll be walking around someday soon?
Pretty soon.
Isn't that pretty? Whoa!
Apparently, Ryan knew better than anybody because less than 2 months later, on Independence Day no less, Ryan tried walking for the whole family.
Stand up straight. Go.
As with everything else in the last year, there was struggle, and then victory.
Isn't that great? That's my boy. That's my boy. Oh, that was beautiful. It's an answer to the prayers of me and a lot of people. There's just really, it's like your heart breaking, but for joy. You know, it was crying, tears, laughing. The whole works.
But he couldn't or wouldn't do it again, and no amount of bribing could make him repeat those 8 steps. Ryan cried, all of a sudden afraid of this newfound skill, or maybe of how it will change his life, or of the bumps and bruises he's getting from failed attempts. Who can explain what's inside a 5-year-old's mind?
What do you think about walking here at the park?
Bad.
Bad? Why?
'Cause.
'Cause why?
Because.
We all thought Ryan would be glad to be rid of the leg braces and the walker, but he hangs on to his disability like a trusted security blanket. Terry's wedding is right around the corner, and she wants him to be a part of it, but Ryan still spends most of his time crawling. His attitude changes slowly, just enough to make Terry's dream come true in October. Ryan walks down the aisle when his mom gets married again. His stride is not perfect, and it may never be, but he's walking. And to Terry and his family, this is a miracle.
Who presents this woman to be married?
I do.
It has been a long, sometimes painful journey for Ryan and Terry, and challenges remain. But a new life is starting thanks to the kindness of strangers and to the determination of this special boy to take one small step.